Hey everybody, welcome to SwJ. Today we're picking up where we left off last time, working on my blanket project, and we'll be talking about green companies and how they're changing the world. Let me find where I'm adding on to. There it is. Adding a little bit of length onto the one end. And we've got everything pinned and trimmed. And this blanket is coming along actually really nicely. It's about the same length as I am, or I guess height would be a better word for that. And we've got some thread already from last session. So I'm going to start in the middle, work my way out to the edges, as is my want. And yeah, and we will talk about some companies. Ooh, I left the fans on. I'm going to have to turn that off. Okay, be right back. Okay, sorry about that, folks. I usually have those fans off before we start. Keeps a little bit of the background noise down. I was talking, wondering, why do I feel the need to shout? It seems louder in here somehow. So, yeah. Topic today is going to be green companies and how they're changing the world. And there's some pretty interesting ones out there. The first one, business is called, it's a little bit of an odd name. It's called And Less. Lowercase AND dash lowercase LESS. And Less. And what their shtick is they do reusable takeout containers. So rather than the styrofoam and plastic and whatnot, they're going to be doing the reusable, kind of like the hospital food system, with the plastic containers that the hospital uses. Not the same ones, there'll be, I'm assuming, different ones. And the way they're planning on getting their dishes back is they have reward vouchers. So if you bring containers back, you get whatever, a percentage off of your next order, or however they're going to work it. And that's going to take an incredible amount of waste out, because if you think about the average business, they don't really have, well, I guess they could, but it'd be very difficult for them to do a takeout container program. And then there just ends up being a ton of waste because businesses need to stay afloat. I guess the way they're probably selling it to the businesses is that, hey, you don't have to use takeout containers anymore, you don't have that expense. You just have to deal with this system. And as long as that dollar number going out is less than what they had to spend on containers, or at least close to it, and if they can do that, then make something happen. It's a very cool idea. maybe keep people from throwing garbage out their windows. You know, all the takeout bags that people just bundle up and just launch out their windows. If you're one of those people, stop. You are looked at by most of society as one of the lowest forms of life if you are a takeout bag launcher. So all you gotta do is pull in somewhere, put it in the garbage can. Sorry. It's a pretty major pet peeve of mine, if you can't tell. So I'm gonna steer away from that. But moving on to the next business, which I think is really an awesome business. It's called Atelier Reforma. And what they do is they collect secondhand clothing and redistributes them. It's kind of like a secondhand clothing store, but online and through media. And I think that's much needed. So a lot of clothing just gets thrown away. You know, yeah, if it's worn out, if it's had its time, then, you know, if you can't easily repair it, or if you're not the if you don't have the sewing skill set or time, is usually the main thing. Don't have time to do it. So thankful for this time. Time is the most valuable thing in the world. You spend time, that's giving yourself. Putting a lot of myself into my clothing. Anyways, Atelier Reforma. So if you look them up, I don't know exactly. I think they're an app. So if you check them out, they might have an app that you can get. And the next one, if you are one to throw away clothing, now there's a company called Biofashion Tech. All one word, I think it was, Biofashion Tech. And they recycle clothing into new materials. So they'll take all old textiles and I guess shred everything and make new fibers. And yeah, I don't understand the technology, so I will stop talking about it. But the one thing that I thought was really interesting out of this is that they can even salvage the dyes that are used. So if you get a huge batch of denim, like blue denim, you can salvage all the dye, the blue dye. Is there dye in blue jeans? Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Must be. They must do something, because it's just cotton, right? You have different colors of jeans, so yeah. So apparently they can salvage dyes. It's really, really cool. There's a startup company called Circunomics. 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 I'm just spelling them out so you can look them up if you're really interested in them yet. And they manage lithium battery recycling. So all these lithium batteries we've been talking about and improvements and whatnot, they have a program put together to see lithium batteries through and recycle them into new materials to make more lithium batteries. There's one company called Enzymity, or Enzymity, ENZYMITY, and they are out in Latvia. And I shouldn't even say where they are, because you can do this anywhere. But they turn plastic waste into a like-new material, and that's more challenging than it sounds. Just because of all the pollutants and glues and things that plastic gets embedded with or joined with. But this company claims they can actually get it down to where it is like usable as new plastic pellets, kind of thing. I always thought that was interesting, is how plastic is sold as just in pellets, and then the manufacturers make whatever they want out of these little plastic pellets. It's weird. It's like the entire world is made up of the stuff that they put inside hacky sacks these days. It used to be something else, but yeah. There's another company. This is kind of cool. It's called Flexi Hex, and the name refers to the way they design their packaging. It's just a special energy absorbing pattern made out of paper. All it said was 85% recycled goods, and this material is kind of like, it's kind of like wrapping something in styrofoam, but super thin and biodegradable and made of recycled materials. And yeah, the interesting thing is you have this packaging and you can just throw it in your garden and it composts completely, apparently, in 6 weeks. So it breaks right down. Even if it goes into the landfill, breaks down within 6 weeks. Cheers. Flexi Hex. That's quite the name. From Flexi Hex we go on to Glentex. GLENNTEX. And they are also putting out a high quality recycled plastic material. I'm assuming this was in a different country, because you can have this company everywhere. So Glentex. Oh no, it was Enzymity that was, yeah, the plastic. And then we had the Flexi Hex packaging. And now it's Glentex. Wow. Keep this stuff straight. So they produce a higher quality recycled plastic as well, with less virgin material input. So they'll use some recycled plastic and some new plastic to make a high quality plastic. So it's like a percentage recycled material kind of thing. Now one really kind of cool company here, it's called Gravity Wave. Gravity Wave. And ooh, my thread got twisted up there. Anyway, sorry. Gravity Wave. And what they do is they work with commercial fishermen to collect plastic off the seabed and then Gravity Wave makes products out of these sea plastics that they collect. So my guess, I don't know this is me guessing, is that they went and talked to a bunch of fishermen and said, hey, you know, all this plastic that ends up in your nets anyways, why don't you just store that and we'll pay you for it, and then we'll make things out of that plastic. To me that would make most sense. There's likely I'm incorrect, but who knows. I like to speculate. I think we all do. Anyway, so Gravity Wave, they make products like cell phone cases and the filament for 3D printers. So basically plastic pellets, but in filament, made into filaments and put onto rolls for all the millions of 3D printers that are popping up out there. And it's pretty amazing. Like, a lot of people are making parts for vehicles that are no longer available. Like, I belong to an antique motorcycle club, and people are making motorcycle parts that haven't been made in, 50 years or more. Pretty impressive technology all around, I think. And the other thing that Gravity Wave does is they help companies become plastic neutral. So they help companies to recycle the same amount of plastic that they bring in and use as a corporation. Which is pretty impressive. Like, no plastic goes in the garbage. How do you keep the plastic out of the oceans? You don't put it there in the first place. You don't start that flow, literally. Now kind of tying all the way back into where we started with our with the company and less. There's a company that does a very similar thing called Moree, M-O-R-E-E. So and less and Moree. Can't just have regular words anymore for company names. Everything's been done. Everything's copyrighted. You make a new company these days, and you immediately get a cease and desist notice from somewhere. But Moree, what they're doing is along the similar lines, but instead of restaurants, they're doing a zero waste grocery delivery service, and they don't use any plastic containers like that for giving people. I'm not quite sure how they do that. My assumption is bulk groceries. And the people that they deliver to just have containers that they reuse and put stuff in. But in times where you need grocery deliveries, or old folk always need grocery deliveries, you can greatly cut down on the waste from those services, and Moree is working on doing that. It's really encouraging to see all these companies firing up that are focused solely on reducing waste. You know, obviously they need to make money at it somehow, and I'm sure they do. It's just encouraging to see people with that mindset. It's like, I want to save the world, but be able to live, be able to make a living. Why not make a living doing something that will help the world rather than harm the world? And I think that will lead to a lot more fulfilling employment for a lot of people, because they're doing good. Like when I was working in the electrical industry, I saw what it does to the environment. And I didn't feel good about that part of my job. I felt good that we were providing a service and we were, keeping the power on. But some of the waste, heavy industry can be very wasteful. Okay, I'm going to pull some pins and then do this little corner. The one that I really think is neat is the Atelier Reforma, the clothing upcycling, recycling, redistribution, whatever you want to call it, giving new life to old clothes. Because you see what I do. I find it fulfilling. There's the reveal. Nice next line. And I might have found the length, the overall length. I might go a little bit larger yet because this is now roughly at the same height as me. And then I will fill in all the blanks and straighten off the edges a bit. And yeah, then we'll have a blanket. We can start doing all of the t-shirts on the other side. I do still have some jeans that need some work. Just waiting to feel the move to do that. It's probably when one of my other pairs of jeans becomes unwearable again. It's not grabbing as well as it could right there. What I might do is once the blanket is done on this side, I'll just go back and revisit some of these spots and throw in an extra stitch. So one thing with the khaki material, it's not as strong either, so it doesn't hold the thread quite as well. Just need to quickly tie this end in, and then we call it an episode. Actually, you know what? This isn't starting as well as I'd hoped. I am just going to leave this little bit for next episode because I think I'm done for right now. I want to get another piece pinned on and started, so we'll get to that. We'll call it a day. And yeah, thanks for joining me this episode. I really appreciate the time we get to spend together. And we'll hopefully do it again soon. Till next time, keep chilling. Don't forget your cookie. Peace.